Take talking points to the next level. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat. A little while ago, Gary showed Major Riley how to do talking points for General McNulty. Gary's technique involves creating 3 versions of the same talking point: a 3 to 4 word title, a single simple sentence, and then 1 or 2 clarifying sentences. This gives the executive something quick to absorb or integrate into their conversation, and it gives them a script to follow if that's what they need. But there is something that Gary didn't tell Major Riley because General McNulty doesn't like it. It's an added technique for classifying talking points that Gary learned a long time ago and still keeps in mind. He classifies talking points as green, yellow, and red. A green talking point is one that is clearly supported by analysis. If somebody challenged your talking point and then had their analysts dig into it, they'd find out it's true. A yellow talking point doesn't have data to back it up. It's one of these situations where there's solid operational intuition, but there's no analytical support. If someone challenged a yellow talking point and they had their analysts take a look at it, it's unlikely they'd find anything to refute the talking point. And then, as you can imagine, a red talking point is one where the data contradicts the talking point. Now, you might wonder why anyone would use a red talking point, but sometimes it's just that tension between operators and analysts. There's something that hasn't been completely resolved, and so the operator, they stick with their intuition. This kind of classification doesn't really help for internal talking points, but one of the reasons Gary always keeps it in mind is because it's very useful for categorizing the talking points of other offices. If another office has a green talking point, there's not much point in fighting it. In the end, they're right. Now, in a meeting, an executive may challenge a green talking point specifically to highlight it. In fact, I've seen allies where one partner will challenge a green talking point so the other partner can hammer it home to the group. And I've seen people challenge a green talking point specifically so they can get a concession on a yellow talking point. Essentially, I'll believe your fact if you agree with my opinion. If an opponent trots out a red talking point, you need to hit that hard, because unchallenged red talking points have this sneaky way of becoming something that everybody knows. This is AO and director level work. Do not be sending your executive into a meeting to challenge a talking point that the major and the colonel have just been letting slip by. If you haven't challenged it and your executive does, the other side is just going to go, well, that's the first time I've been hearing any challenge to this. And then your side is back on their heels. This leaves yellow talking points. And of course, these are the ones that really matter. Remember, they're the ones that are backed up by operational intuition, but don't have analytical support. And so one of the major goals of an executive level meeting is just sorting out these yellow talking points. Places where there's consensus, where there's conflict, and where there's room for compromise. And this second layer of classification helps prioritize analytical effort. If there's consensus, maybe you don't even bother doing further analysis. But where there's conflict over a yellow talking point, that's where the analysts need to dig in and move things forward. Honing in on those yellow talking points that have conflict, that is still action officer and director level work. If you see it coming, you want to get on it. You don't need the executives to be telling you to do your job. And that's one of the reasons that Gary likes to keep this classification system kind of in the back of his head. General McNulty may not like that his talking points aren't green across the board, but Gary's able to get in front of a lot of issues by keeping this in mind. You want to know something else that Gary does? Watch this video.